Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week. Coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves are right here in front of me. We got some good ones this week. So do you think by saying we got some good ones this week, that they think we might have some not so good ones on other weeks?
It's the same thing we say every week, Biggie.
We do have some good ones this week. Actually, this first knife, without exaggeration, has quickly risen to the top of my favorite new knife releases of the year. Full stop. And that is the relatively simple looking, but oh so nicely executed Overlook by BIGiDESIGN. I really dig this thing. The price is about $220. You got a 2 3/4 M390 blade, almost a full flat grind on it. Great drop point shape. Clean lines to the handle. Titanium, of course. Just 2 screws holding this whole thing together. You have the pivot screw for one, and you have a single screw here at the back that secures the back spacer and the handles together, as well as holding the pocket clip in place, which is just so cool. And it feels super solid overall too. If I were to describe how this feels, it's sort of like if a tactile knife company Rockwall and a Chris Reeve Sebenza had a baby, it'd be something like this. In fact, to take the Chris Reeve comparison even further, it reminds me a lot of a Menundi in a way. The Chris Reeve Menundi model. It's about that kind of size, but has the same kind of feel that a Sebenza does in a way. It doesn't have the same kind of pivot action that a Sebenza does. This does have ball bearings in the pivot as opposed to washers, and you get a really snappy flick open, as you can see. But the feeling of solidity and rigidity and class that this has really does put it in that kind of neighborhood and that kind of competition, and that is high praise indeed. Super, super clean. That's the thing. It's hard to do a clean knife design that feels very refined so well as you find here, and that is really cool. We've got a frame lock on the back for the lockup, and they're even doing something that I only ever really see otherwise from Chris Reeve knives, and that is, instead of a lock bar interface, we actually have a ceramic detent ball providing the wear surface between the lock bar and the blade steel itself. It is super stable, maybe not quite as stable as a typical Chris Reeve knife would be, but very, very, very nice overall. Have I mentioned how much I like this knife?
Not at all.
It's a great little size. This could be your one and only gentleman's knife, provided you don't need a larger knife. This could be your one and only everyday carry knife. That could be also your gent's knife. Like the Rockwall I mentioned earlier, or the plain Jane Sebenzas especially, it both dresses up and down equally well, which is something that not a lot of knives pull off with this same kind of quality to it. I think this is a phenomenal knife, and yeah, I'm gonna have to wind up purchasing one at some point. I like it. I like it a lot. The other item from BIGiDESIGN today, we've also just brought in their baseline titanium bolt action pen. This is basically their take on their entry-level bolt action pen. It's designed to be an everyday carry type of thing. We've got stonewash titanium as well as black titanium, $65 for this. You've got a very deep pocket clip. You've got really nice bolt action feel to it, and it takes a Parker style of refill. So world is your oyster in terms of tailoring this to the writing experience you like. There's all kinds of Parker compatible refills out there. In fact, it comes with a Schmidt Megaline 9000 in it, which writes very, very well, and is a good baseline refill as well, I would say. But yeah, overall feels very solid. Less gentlemanly perhaps than the Overlook can pull off that we just looked at, but fantastic everyday pen overall. Has a little bit of weight to it. It's about 1.2 ounces, so it's not an ultralight pen if that's what you're into, but good price and great quality, I would say. Before we move on, actually, bolt action pens have been very popular in recent years. If you're not on board with them yet, let me tell you why I like them. They're as convenient as a clicky top pen. Click, you got the pen nib come out, just actuated from the side rather than a springy mechanism from the top. But what I like about a bolt action over a clicky top is while this is in your pocket, very unlikely to, for the pen tip to be deployed and therefore getting ink all over the insides of your pocket. That can happen with a clicky top. If you're brushing up against something, it can be pressed, and then you're dealing with that kind of situation. This gives you the convenience with less mess. Plus, they're fun to use as well. All right, next up, speaking of EDC type of stuff, we have from Jack Wolf Knives, their Gateway series has landed, which is their entry-level lineup of knives. They've been, up to this point, well known for their higher end pieces. They are bringing down to an $80 price point now some of their most popular designs, including this Barlow pattern right here. We've got a 3-inch blade, 14C 28N steel, integral steel bolsters. I personally am a big fan of the blue bone version of this knife, but there are a handful, including an abalone right now, which is really cool. And you don't get the super steel that you get on the high-end versions. You don't get titanium. You don't get screw-together construction like you do on those high-end models, but nothing, and I mean nothing, about this model or this particular knife feels low-end. Far from it. This is a truly exceptional representation of a traditionally made traditional pocket knife here. I mean, the walk and talk is great. The fit and finish is excellent. The materials are very good for the price as well. Not a lot to complain. Well, I have nothing to complain about at the price, quite honestly. If I had to stretch to complain about one thing, you don't get the cool aluminum tube with the custom graphics and the goodies in there that you get on the higher end models. You just get a simple box, but you do still get custom artwork on that. And the Gateway Barlow comes with that particular box right there. But yeah, check them out if you want to. I do imagine they're probably going to go kind of quick, it's one of those things where filming earlier in the week might get us into trouble. They may be sold out by the time the video drops on its normal Thursday time. So if that is the case, I apologize, but there are more releases coming in the Gateway series. Next up, let's keep the blue theme going, because I like blue, why not? Limited edition knives from Case here with Gator Jig Ocean Blue Bone. Several different patterns are going to be, are currently, I should say, in stock with this handle material on. But I picked out the Baby Doc for this one because the Baby Doc is the vault pattern for this year. And it will, of course, be going back into the vault at the end of the year. They won't be making these as ongoing as some of the other versions. And this one's coming in about $90 right now. The Gator jig is a little bit wider, but it has some texture inside the big jigs. And you've got custom engraving, or engraving's not the right word, but custom lettering on the main blade here as well. Check out the full lineup below. Shall we see what is in the full lineup real quick? 7 on the site right now as we're filming this. You can get a Trapper, you could get a Barlow, Baby Butterbean, a Seahorse Whittler, Muskrat, Tiny Trapper, and the Baby Doc. Low price on these, looks about 87, sorry, looks about $80. That'll be the Tiny Trapper, be a few dollars less than the Baby Doc right here. All right, one more, second to last blue knife on the table. The Spy 27 version of the Spyderco Bodacious is here. $225 for this, US made. You've got a 3.6-inch blade of CPM Spy 27. Should give you performance somewhere in the realm of like the S45 VN and similar steels there, but is able to be stropped and sharpened a little more easily, despite not really giving up anything in edge retention, which is a pretty cool trick. We've got a 2-position pocket clip. We have the compression lock there on the spine. Gives you finger-safe closing, of course. Nice snappy action because there's no coil springs or anything like that. It has the same type of advantages of a liner lock with a good detent. Lets you really feel that action. Nice hard working blade, almost a full flat grind, a little bit thicker than most Spyderco knives, but not quite as thick as the Shaman, which is a very closely related model here. But my favorite part about this version here is the way they've done the handles right here. It is blue G10, like many of the other Spy 27 models, but it is smooth sanded, and it's a matte finish on it. It's not high polished, and it's not super rough either. It feels like really good rich light. That's the type of feel you get from G10, however, in this case. So I think that is really cool. It is just super satisfying. Feels like good paper. I like it. And that's something, of course, you're never going to be able to see from, in picture on the website, of course. So I'm trying to communicate that. Next up, speaking of micarta, well, we didn't say anything about micarta a second ago, did I?
You mentioned it.
Did I?
Yes.
No, it's a rich light, which is kind of like paper micarta.
Close enough.
It's virtually paper micarta. We have a new Kershaw. This is the Remnant. And we've got a black micarta handle on here. Price on this knife is about 80 bucks. You've got that black micarta with a nice contour, and it's a good black color too. It's not a real ashy black, which can happen sometimes. It looks nice and feels really good in my hands. Give enough length there for a full gorilla grip, even with my slightly larger than average hands, and a neutral enough shape that even bigger hands would still have no problem with this knife. Blade itself is about 3 1/4 inches long, D2 steel, full flat grind. Not the most, standout-ish drop point shape. No one's ever gonna pick this out of a lineup, but the part of my brain that really keys in on and appreciates knife grinds and blade shapes that actually work really lit up on this one. This is going to be a phenomenal daily user. Really, honestly, it's kind of the size of a Benchmade bug out. Weight is 2.7 ounces, so it's less than an ounce heavier than the base bug out, but you've got a more rigid handle thanks to the micarta and the full-length liners on here. Now you don't get the crossbar lock like you would on a bug out, but you do get the button lock. Gives you nice snappy action, finger-safe closing motions as well. And it's still easily operated by the left-handers out there. And you've got a reversible deep carry pocket clip to further facilitate that, and a small metal tab here to fill the space where the pocket clip would sit, depending on which side you're using. Gold barrel spacers on the back as well. Really, really nice and truly useful knife right here. All right, one more blue knife. If you saw our video on Tuesday talking about Yen's Anso, you saw these there, but I know some folks only tune in for the new knives video, so I want to go over these briefly. Yen's Anso has kind of revitalized his name brand stuff, essentially. He stepped away from Giant Mouse, which he co-founded with Jesper Vakne, his fellow Danish knife maker. And we've got the shop-built series of knives coming from his shop in Denmark under the Anso of Denmark brand. And the TOKO right here won Best Import Contender Knife award at Blade Show 2025 here in Atlanta. And it is even better in person than it looks. It looks perfectly fine, in fact, perfectly very good in photos, but in hand, it is quite special. And it better be. This version right here is 925 bucks. It's not a full custom, but it might as well be. It's built by just his small team of people in the shop and a lot of hand time from Jens himself. It's just not a sole authorship custom, but the quality level is exactly the same as a full custom. 3 3/8 inch blade, clean drop point, full, or pretty much a full hollow grind, almost a full hollow grind there. Crown spine feels really nice. Titanium handles, but you don't have as much weight associated with it as you might expect. The whole knife is only 3.3 ounces. That's due to really aggressive milling out of the inside. And the handle, the milling on the handle outside, however, is by far my favorite part. It is really fine, really precise, and really comfortable. It looks like, diamond texture, like gun grips, essentially, but it is smaller and finer and creates a really, really tactile texture that feels, I just want to keep doing that. It feels really good. It's comfy. It's not sharp. That's the important thing. It's not creating something that's going to rip your hands up or rip your pants up as it sits in there with the pocket clip. It just feels so satisfying. I'm not lying when I say I want to keep doing this. Hey Jens, if you're watching this, can you just send me a piece of this titanium with this milling on it? I don't even need it to be a knife. It feels really good. We've got a button lock for the action here. Subtle flipper tab on the back, yet very effective and easy to use. Milled pocket clip there. Clean backspacer with integrated lanyard point. Some more dimension to the handle thickness that way. I should always show that because it's great. It's just so nice. So nice. Oh, I almost forgot to mention the steel, RWL 34. unless I forgot that I did mention it, in which case it's RWL34 still.
Again.
That's cool. Analogous to a CPM 154. So it's powder metal. It's not 154 CM. Banish that thought from your head right now. RWL34 is the same stuff that is used as the base for Damasteel. In fact, it is a Damasteel company product, RWL34. Really cool stuff. Next up, also in RWL34, we have the AROS from Anso of Denmark. 2.5-inch bladed sheepsfoot folder here, $7.95 for this one. Not quite the same kind of texture as on the TOKO. It's even finer. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not as satisfying to me. I really like the TOKO. But anyway, same pocket clip on this actually, which is kind of cool. Full hollow grind on this as well. Stone washed finish. Integrated surround for the pivot and the button lock there. Similar subtle flipper tab there. Very, very effective. Just like, man, it just feels precise. Yeah, very precise. My favorite detail from like a design perspective on this knife is the way he's designed the end right here. It's a very tapering, narrow end, so you got to make space for things, right? Well, you got this cool pocket clip here, single screw, milled, nice shape. That makes it harder to find a way to do a lanyard attachment. And you could do something like you did on the TOKO right here. That is one way to do it, as opposed to, like the Bodacious drilling a hole through the handle. But this one right here is almost playful in a way. You've got a backspacer with the lanyard point actually created by combining the void in the backspacer and the hole on the front handle right there. I think it's really neat. Why do I think it's really neat? Well, it's a little bit different, which is always cool to see in a sea of samey knives. Hey, that was kind of cool. Like a sea of samey knives. Anyway. But for those who don't want to use a lanyard, I think it creates even more visual interest going on than other, other implementations you could utilize for a lanyard. I don't know. I like it. It's hard to explain why, but I like it a lot. Next up, a fixed blade, the simply titled Sheepsfoot fixed blade 315 for this one. RWL34, full hollow ground, RWL34. I said that twice now. Full hollow ground sheepsfoot blade is what I meant to say. About 2 1/8 inch sharpened edge. But if you measure your blade length from tip to handle, it's obviously significantly longer right there. Amber titanium for the handles, and it's just enough to give you a grip on this like high-end replacement to a box cutter. Let's be honest. This is a daily utility knife. It is built for precision. That grip right there on that milled out hole in the middle or drilled out hole in the middle of the blade makes it very nice for pinch grips. You've got enough there for a heavier push cut thanks to that back end of the handle providing that. A little bit of jimping for security on the front. Overall, just super, super nice. The sheath is Kydex, and as I mentioned in the video earlier this week, it feels like it's naturally set up to be carried on your belt inverted. So you could reach down, grab the knife, cut what you want, and then use the hump of the spine to kind of find the entrance to that sheath by feel and bring it home. But a small tech lock or a SLEEVE T-clip would work on this if you wanted to have a different type of belt attachment. An ulti-clip would make this a really nice pocket fixed blade as well. There you go, check it out. If you want to see more about that and those knives and more about Jens's designs in general, check out that video we did on Tuesday. We'll leave a thingy up there. All right, this next knife is also kind of similarly a small daily carry fixed blade designed to take the place of a simpler utility knife. Naming wise, like it's interesting where this comes from. It's a Woodsmonkey product. Woodsmonkey is owned as a brand by LT Wright. This knife is made by LT Wright, but before there was LT Wright Handcrafted Knives as the company we know today, LT was part of a partnership known as Blind Horse Knives. And this model, the Batwing, dates to back then. And it's not been really made in any kind of quantities since. So now's a chance. The Batwing is back, essentially. We've got Magna Cut steel, as indicated right there, $125. About 1.4 inches of edge, chisel ground actually, which is very interesting. This one also has a fob here at the back with a little skull bead. You've got a finger ring there, and you certainly could use that fob in the hand and hold the index finger through the hole and get a little bit of reach that way. I find personally my favorite way to hold it is just with 2 fingers, like so, and then the other fingers can hang on to the fob, of course. But for me, that's the hold right there. You've got plenty of finger or thumb ramp right here to really lock in and push this blade hard when you need to push it, and it's nice and compact. The sheath is Kydex. We've got several different variations in stock right now with some different Kydex sheaths, some different colors on the fobs right there. You can check them out while supplies last, but if we run out, we'll certainly try to get some more. Next, from Woodsmonkey and made by UltraLite, we have the half Chete right here. $159 for this, made in USA, just like the Batwing. And the blade is 7 inches, 1095 carbon, thinner like a traditional grass style or Latin style machete. Micarta handles with some length there. Standard grip for me. Folks know I have slightly larger than average hands, which means I wear a large or extra large glove depending on the brand. And I've got another at least 1.5 fingers of length behind my pinky. What that means is bigger hands can certainly use this. You can also choke back a bit on that handle to get a little more reach for choppier cuts right there. And it's designed to bridge the gap between a good belt knife and a small machete. It's going to handle more nimbly for standard work, carving and that sort of thing, but especially when you choke back, you can get a little more reach for light work, small branches, small vegetation, things like that. You probably wouldn't want to chop trees down with this, but could probably do in a pinch with a little bit of extra of muscle going on. I feel pretty cool, man. Yeah, feels pretty cool. This could be a great camping tool. Could be a nice like ATV or trail riding tool because it's not going to take up too much space. If if space is at a premium, this could be a potential solution for you. They come with a JRE Industries hybrid sheath. It is leather and fire hose canvas. Make sure I'm getting that in there right. There we go. Leather reinforced at the end and at the top, of course, comes with a dangler loop for easy carry. The nice thing about a dangler, especially on a larger fixed blade like this, is it helps the knife to stay out of your way when you're climbing through things, if you're sitting on things, whether it's a camp chair or the front seat of your Jeep, that sort of thing. Makes it far easier to manage that way and allows you to carry a bigger blade than you might think you could. Next up, we've got the Guardian 3.5 UltraLite from Bradford. This is coming in about $192 right now, and it is UltraLite because it is, I think it's slightly thinner than some of the other 3.5s, and then the handle scales themselves are certainly quite a bit thinner than the full contoured 3D scales. G10 in this case kept nice and slim. In fact, actually, let me look at this. The whole knife thickness itself is just barely thicker than this really thick TRC we're going to look at here next. So it is nice and compact. It's going to sit nice and flat against your body. Still comfortable enough, but if you're doing a lot of heavy work, you're going to appreciate the heavier contoured scales. But if you just like the dependability of a fixed blade every day and you don't want a whole lot of added bulk, this could be a really nice option there. Plenty of handle length for my slightly larger than average hands. You've got a guard at the front, which I appreciate on these 3.5s right here. Keeps your hand from slipping forward onto that edge. M390 steel for a lot of edge retention. Full flat grind for a very good slicing. Combining that with, what's that about? 1/8 of an inch thick steel? Let's check. 0.132, so it's 1/8 inches, 0.125, so it's just a skosh over. Not too far off. My micrometers today. Comes with a Kydex sheath, which will enable very easy carry inside the waistband or in maybe a pocket. If you have deep pockets, this could certainly stick out a bit, but you could do that. But inside the waistband or on the belt, you will need attachment hardware. However, they don't provide that in the box. A small tech lock will work. Let me see if a large tech lock will work. I've got a T-clip here that'll tell me what I need to know. Yep, large tech lock will work, as will a Civivi T-clip, which is, the T-clips are very affordable. I don't even remember how much they are these days, but they're only a few bucks. Next up, that TRC. The fixed blade fan in me is very happy with today's lineup. This is a limited edition of the Apocalypse from TRC. It is with made with Venatus 4 extra steel. Very, very tough stuff. This is something that my first encounter with V4E was in the context of blade sports, where they're running through these obstacle courses with big 10-inch knives, chopping through things. So you need something really tough that can withstand the abuse of that type of cutting. But they're also doing really fine slicing stuff in between the heavier chopping things. So you need something that can take a thin enough edge to do those slicing tasks while still being tough enough to withstand heavy hacking work. And this is a steel that can definitely do those two things. So you've got very tough, very high edge retention, and not stainless, however. Beware. 6.77-inch blade on this Apocalypse right here. Thickness is, man, that's a full 1/4 inch, or maybe even a tiny bit more. Let's see if I'm right this time. 0.263. It is a tiny bit more than a 1/4 inch. It's a beast, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking for something that slices very efficiently overall, this isn't it. This is designed for do or die, one tool option survival, heavy work, hell or high water, no matter what. That's what you've got right here. Between the geometry and the steel selection here, good luck breaking it. Someone might manage it, but good luck doing it in any case. Here's where blade shapes are funny. The website says this is a drop point, and yet this is a straight line, and this is a straight line. And I've seen knives with this type of tip described as reverse tantos before, but that really makes me mad, because that is not a reverse tanto.
Disagree.
No matter what you want to call it, it's still a TRC. Hey, that kind of
team reverse.
Oh, get out of town. Natural canvas micarta for the handles. A nice flare at the back, which will allow you to choke back a little bit, get a little more reach if you needed to chop with this. Flared tubes, 1, 2, 3, all along it. They've got a lanyard here at the back, but what I would probably do, personally, is I might string up a lanyard here in the middle. As long as I could do it without it affecting the ergonomics too much, because then you could set it up as a forward lanyard, so I could dip my hand through it and hold it like so, and be really confident and secure doing that heavier swinging stuff. Or you could just do it up here and keep it out of your normal grip area a little bit more if you want. Sheath on these bad boys, Kydex, nylon loop on the back, fire steel rod holder on the front. Check it out. Next up, North Mountain blade. We've actually restocked on several versions of the Dwayne Dwyer designed BBNM. And because when these first came in, Seth had them on an episode he hosted that week, I didn't get a chance to hold them. So now that we're restocked, it's time to do that. 2 blade shapes. You got a clip point and a tanto. Prices on them are a bit north of $300, depending on which version you get. Looks like the prices start at $320. Which one do I like better? I'm less of a tanto person in general, but I like the arc of the spine on this tanto. That really carries through the handle shape, and I'm digging that one. So I'm gonna go with that. This is kind of like a little bit throwbacky in its design. It's kind of old school, overbuilt, tough type of frame lock folder. Slabby handles, but they're not too uncomfortable. It doesn't really feel like a brick in the hand. There's been just enough done to it to make it feel a little more at home in your grip. You've got a standard hold here, which I can fit all 4 of my fingers on without too much trouble at all. But then you've also got that guarded finger choil if you wanted to get closer to the edge itself. Thickness to the steel that's about 5/32 of an inch, I would say. Let's drill down. Let's find out. Which would be like 0.1875. No, that's 3/16. What is, huh?
Math.
What are we here? 0.16. Yeah, that's about 5/32, isn't it? 5/32 in decimal. Let me check. 156. And I'm at 1.6. So yeah. Calibration is within spec. It's not perfect today, but it's within spec right there. Steel, we've talked about this before, SLD Magic. We've only really talked about this in the context of North Mountain blades, however, because they're the ones who are who I know that are using this. It is laminated. You've got 3 layers, so it's a Sanmei or Sanmai style of construction. Outer layers are stainless. The actual SLD magic part of the knife, which would be the edge itself, is a high hardness tool steel, not stainless, so keep that in mind. But you got a really nice effect going here with the line between the 2 layers, and the polishing that happens as well gives it a real nice effect. Thick frame lock there, again, nice and stable. And the other thing you'll notice is the action. This has a very deliberate opening because washers in the pivot is what we're dealing with here. Gives it that more kind of like buttery smooth feel as opposed to glassy smoothness that you think of when, which is how I like to describe ball bearings, I should say. That allows it to resist dust and grit a little more easily, and oftentimes can be even more stable feeling in that locked position. And this is like, not to bring the Sebenza into every conversation, but this is Sebenza levels of lockup. It is perfect. I can't detect any wiggle whatsoever from that blade. Check them out. 2 more North Mountain blades to look at. It's essentially the same handle on both. We have the Zero, which has an upswept Tanto blade, and we have the Echo, which has more of a reverse Tanto blade. Website says, where is it? Does the website Sheepsfoot? Maybe a sheep's clip. But we'll let Thomas have this one.
We'll welcome it to the team.
SLD Magic laminated blades on these as well. Which one do I like better of these? There are several flavors of each. You've got several fat carbons, as well as a handful of different titanium options. This is green camo ceramic carbon fiber. That's cool. The weight on that is going to be a little bit less than some of the titanium versions. Let's see, this Zero with the carbon is 3.2 ounces. Honestly, I thought it would be even less than that based on the feel. Just tells you how much perception plays into some of those things. Let's check out the action. We've got a frame lock on the back. We've got a milled pocket clip on the back, neither of which are directly talking about the action, which I said we were just going to talk about now. But we do have a frame lock. Let's check out. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that feels good. Let's check it out on the Echo. Yeah. They're feeling nice, people. Flat grinds on both of these knives. They are flat grinds, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, that's a flat grind. Shall I taste it? No, I'm not going to taste it.
Not on inventory.
I don't know what SLD Magic tastes like. 01, however, I can identify by taste. It's like licking a battery almost sometimes.
Do that often?
Not as much as I used to. This is a whole nother conversation we could be having. They're pretty cool too. I've really been impressed with the North Mountain Blades stuff coming out. Price on these, $140 for that version of the Zero we looked at, $135 for this version of the Echo. They feel more expensive. I don't know how some of these manufacturers manage to keep feeling more expensive than the last guy that felt more expensive than it was. These guys are pushing it up to the next level, I gotta say. It is what it is. Last but not least, since tomorrow is July 4th, Independence Day here in the US, we'll end with a US-made product. This is the fireSLEEVE Mini from Exotac. I've long been a fan of the full-size version of this. This is the small version of it. Designed to fit a mini Bic lighter, you get a capped waterproof case that floats in water and also helps prevent it from being, or the gas tab from being pressed down inadvertently in a pocket or bag. Really cool product, especially for folks who like to go camping. It's just really cool. They also have this here. You could flip use this to hold the gas cap or the gas switch down, so you can hold it out a little more like a candle. I've never really done that too much with my full-size versions of this, but it's an awesome product. I believe in it. In fact, I kickstarted it myself when they first came out, before they had any dealers, because I thought it was just that cool. Check it out. 15 bucks and some change for that. If you want one of the full-size versions, which we also have in stock and have for a while, a little bit over 21 bucks for those. that's all we got for today, folks. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. And of course, happy Independence Day to anyone who celebrates here in the States. Well, even if you don't celebrate it here in the States, happy Independence Day. If you're in the States, it's a good day, I think.
Friday.
So someone's going to take that politically somehow in the comments and try to skewer me, but I'm going to stand by it. So, happy Independence Day, anyone. If you like what you see, oof, I don't know where that came from.
There, Elmer.
If you like what you see here and want to get your hands on any of these knives, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. While you're there, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program or our new Sezzle payment options if you want to break up some of these more expensive knives into some more manageable payment chunks. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.
America.